Hello everyone and welcome to Trending in My Life. This is podcast 70 and it's all about challenges. Now I know sometimes challenges come into our life and we have to decide how to deal with them, how to rise to the challenge, accept them and push through. But that's not the kind of challenge I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about how we challenge ourselves. Sometimes we get in quite a rut. Things are in a routine. You go to work, you come home, you might watch telly, you might play games online, you might watch YouTube, but you get some dinner, maybe order some takeout, and the week sort of ticks by and then it's weekend and you have a routine at weekends. You might go out to do food shopping, give the house a bit of a clean, do your washing, and then maybe you don't really do anything, maybe you just chill, and that might be something you need to do because of the stresses of your week. But this weekend I went on a day trip and it happened like this. It wasn't a planned day trip. I looked at the weather forecast for the coming month and decided there was a lot of rainy days, especially at weekends. And if I wanted to go to this specific place, I needed dry weather because it was outdoors to walk around. And I thought, if I don't do it now, I might not get to do it until the weather is really freezing cold, and then I won't want to do it, and then it'll end up being another year, or spring at least, before I get to do it. So anyway, long story short, I'm on the train and I'm thinking about how we push ourselves past our boundaries to do things outside our comfort zone sometimes. Now, normally when I'm going a trip, I will plan it ahead of time. I will have looked at maps and I will have arranged tickets and stuff like that. And this I really did on the fly. I realised about the weather. I got ready to go, packed a bag and just headed off to the station. And it was 3 different trains I had to catch to get where I was going because it was outside of London, and the same back. And it worked really well because, if there had been delays on any of those trains, it would have been really difficult to get back. There was one little glitch. The clocks have changed today in the UK. And when that happened, my Fitbit has been playing up recently and it's a day ahead. So it changed and fell back in time yesterday when I was out of London, and I was relying on looking at it rather than my phone, which I was filming with, to know what time to get the train. And it just happened that I was heading along the street and realised I'd reached a junction that went to the station. And when I looked at my Fitbit, I thought, there's another hour yet before my train, and I don't want to walk in the rain. I'll go to the station just in case I can catch an earlier one. And when I got to the station and saw the station clock above all the times of the trains, I realised something was up, and I realised that I was actually 10 minutes away from missing my train that I was booked on. So that was fate lending a hand and getting me back in time. But yeah, that was pushing my boundaries to do a trip which wasn't really planned, and it worked very well. It was something that had been sort of planned in a previous year and I didn't do. And then I didn't revisit it. I just went off with a few ideas of where I'd head for. So yeah, that made me think about pushing boundaries. And I have this thing at the moment that I can't fly. And if you've listened to previous podcasts, you know why that was. The last time I flew, I had a very bad experience in both directions, and it put me off flying. And I'm not afraid of flying, I just don't like the crowds of people on the plane and queuing up to get on the plane and at the airport. So it's the people I don't like, not the plane. So anyone got any suggestions for getting over that? I will explore them. So I do think I need to push myself, stretch my boundaries, and book like a flight to a European country that only takes like an hour to get there. The trouble is those planes are a lot smaller than the planes I would normally go on to America and Canada to see friends. And of course the journeys are a lot longer, but as a start I think I should at least try to do something like that, and before we get to a point where I'm worried about ice on the wings because it's winter. So anyway, back to pushing boundaries. There are all sorts of ways to push your boundaries, and you may have a fear of something and decide it's interfering with your regular life and you really need to overcome it, and in which case you'll probably be able to figure out some baby steps towards doing that, in the way I said, okay, I'll get on a plane and have a short journey. Point is, I don't know whether I'd freak out at the airport and not get on that plane. I don't know till I try. Because let's face it, you can't go to an airport and it not be crowded, because airports always are, because the amount of flights going out of them. So yeah, occasionally I push my boundaries to go to an event somewhere where it's crowded, or I'm in central London at a time when it's very crowded. So I try in little steps to do that. How do you challenge yourself? It might be that you challenge yourself to be a better person, to have a social conscience, and getting involved in environmental projects. Just recently in September, there was a big litter pickup on the Thames beaches, the Thames foreshore they call it. And people donned Wellington boots and had a litter pick and went down with bags, and they joined lots of other people and picked up all the litter that was on the Thames foreshore. And that was helping out London as a whole, stopping the rivers being full of litter, and making the edge, the foreshore, the beach look better, and cleaning up the environment. So that was something people did with a social conscience. It might be thrifting that I did the other week. I did a video about that the other week, and I mean that is quite often financially driven, that you go to second-hand stores or charity shops, thrift stores, to find something that you need. I very rarely buy new clothes without recycling some item. If I bought 3 items of clothing, then I will take 3 items of clothing to donate, so that I don't have a huge wardrobe of clothes. I keep that circle moving, that I bring some in and some goes back out, donating it. And the house that we've moved into frequently gets bags put through the door, that on a certain day of week you fill the bag with things and you leave it outside, and it goes to a charity. And they're all different charities, I've noticed, and it's different things they collect, because we had one through that wanted CDs and DVDs, and a lot of them that come through are clothes, but some of them accept like shoes, and some of them accept handbags or jewellery as well as clothes. So, and it's all written on the little bag that comes through the door so that you know. But since we've moved in here, I've made sure that every time we have a bag put through the door, I have a look around the house and find things to put in it. When we lived in our previous house, I didn't do that so much. It was a thing that there was a lot of foxes around in the early hours, and they would always rip open any bag on the street. So it was much more difficult to do it. We don't have that same problem here. I have seen foxes, and I have seen them have a go at rubbish bags outside on bin day, but it was a really big problem in the area we lived before. So yes, in that way, that's having a social conscience, trying to help the environment by not having that demand of buying new clothes all the time. And every little helps, as they say. It might be that you're pushing your boundaries and challenging yourself to get in some way fitter. In some way, like you might be going for a walk each day, and you might be adding like 5 minutes. You might be doing one of these, what is it, they say sofa to so many K, and the idea is that you stop being a couch potato and you get up and you walk a bit one day and a bit more the next day, and it builds up. But I mean, I see a lot of joggers out when I'm out in the mornings, and they're quite often looking at their watches as they go, which will be like a Fitbit, and I wonder if they're looking at how fast they're going, trying to beat their time, challenging themselves in that way, or they might be going a further distance, challenging themselves in that way. I've always quite fancied doing that walking with sticks. And I don't know what it's called, but you know, when they have two, they look like ski poles, but please comment if you know what I'm talking about. But you're not skiing, you're just walking along, but you're using them as you walk, one hand and then the other hand moving them forward as you walk. And I certainly don't need them to help me walk, but it exercises different parts of your body. It exercises your arms for one thing, but it must exercise some of your top bit as well. I don't know. But yeah, I've always quite fancied doing that. And the other day I saw a lady get off the train and she was carrying a pair of them in her hand. So clearly she'd been somewhere and done a walk like that and was on her way back. I think I'd like some, if I got some, I'd want some that were really lightweight, because I don't fancy them. I imagine if they were heavy, by the time you've gone a little way, they become heavier. But yeah, maybe I'll try that one day. Yeah, something to think about. Maybe I'll put it on a list somewhere or stick it on a note on the fridge, something like that. But yeah, let me know how you challenge yourself and if you ever think about it, because we don't always think about it. You know, in your everyday life, you're busy in your routine, following your routine. And like I said, there are some stresses of work that make you want to just chill and relax and not think about anything. Just you know, just be, as they say. And yeah, but I think it's interesting when you start to think about the things you could push yourself to do and try. I mean, some people push themselves forward for a job that isn't exactly what they're qualified for, but they feel passionate about a change and wanting to go in that direction, and they'll apply for something and hope that the passion that they talk about the job will convince the employer to take them on and give them that extra bit of training once they start, to let them pursue that. Yeah, there's lots of different challenges, isn't there? I mean, we're I don't know how many weeks till Christmas. All I know is it's Halloween next week. But it's one of those things, isn't it? I only have to look in the stores to know that it's not that many weeks away because there's so much Christmas stuff everywhere. It's nice because I think at this time, since we are still in October, it's last week coming up, but people aren't stressing about Christmas unless you're one of those people that does plan it well ahead of time. But, the panic will set in once you get to the end of November, start of December. But before then, it seems too far away, and you can wander around the shops and see these Christmas decorations and go, oh, that's nice, oh, I like that, but not feel stress and pressure of Christmas. And yeah. I mean, I think as you get older, you always have Christmas decorations that you've packed away from the year before, and you get them out again, and you've usually got a tree that you've had before, and it's one of those things that you don't particularly need to buy anything for your tree and decorating your house, but of course people see things and go, oh, I really like that. And then before you know it, you've got 2 boxes of decorations to put away instead of 1 in January. I don't think when I buy a new decoration, and I might buy 1 or 2 each year, but I never buy a load. But it's one of those things that I don't recycle the old ones, because I think they have history within your family. You remember when you bought them, even if they've not got sentimental value. I think it's very rare that people will do that with their decorations. And and of course it's sort of trendy, isn't it, to have a tree in each room, or certainly a tree in the kitchen or dining room area, because there are all these decorations in the shape of food now that people hang on the tree that's in the kitchen. We still usually just have the one. I'm thinking there's already a corner where it will fit in the living room, which is nice that they don't have to sort of scout around for a space for it. There's already a space that it'll fit in. But yeah, back to challenges. Please comment below what challenges you set yourself in life, whether you do or whether you don't, or whether this podcast has made you think a little bit that maybe you'd like to. I think once we get to January, everybody is challenging themselves in the weight and fitness part of their lives. But there are so many other parts of your lives that you can challenge yourself in. And then maybe become a better person, maybe become just more all-rounded, not, I don't mean that circular, maybe become someone that's got more, I can't say this, I'm trying to say maybe have a fuller life with more things in it than you did before, just by challenging yourself in different directions. There we go, I got there in the end. Well, if you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Oh, I just want, before I say bye for now, the photograph I'm going to use for this podcast are my dogs on the fireplace, because I've now decorated it for Halloween, so they've got some pumpkins with them. You'll see anyway, but that explains why I've put this photo here, because when I do the next podcast, Halloween will be over. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Bye for now.